You wanna go get a Coke? Hi, Wonderhussy here. In the car again, on the road again, but this time, I got a buddy with me. Hello. Twinsies! Somebody gave me this mannequin when I was up in the San Francisco Bay Area visiting my mom. So I picked Wonderhussy Jr. up on my way back down south, and, well, she's been with me the entire trip. And, well, this is a big occasion. This is a big deal because this is going to be Wonderhussy Jr.'s first adventure. That's right. I decided to stop on my way back. I'm only about another 2 hours from Vegas, so we've come a long way, baby. But here we are on the outskirts of Barstow, and there's well, I got a tip that there's something I should check out. Okay, you might remember this place. I've been here before. It's called the Liberty Sculpture Park, and it's right off of the side of the I-15, just outside, I guess just north of Barstow. And it's well, it's essentially a big dirt lot full of anti-Chinese Communist Party sculptures. Okay, you can go back and watch the other video I made here. It's just sculptures relating to the Tiananmen Square protests, and there were some demonstrations they did in Taiwan, pro-democracy demonstrations they did in Taiwan. There's all kinds of sculptures, and they're all dedicated, well, they're basically all dedicated to taking down the Chinese Communist Party. Matter of fact, you can see here, when you pull up to the sculpture park, there's two signs. One of them says Liberty Sculpture Park, and the other one says no communists allowed. Not to worry, I'm wearing my capitalist sunglasses, which were ironically made in China. Anyway, after I made my last video, I got some intel from people in the know that apparently the guy who made all these sculptures has a foundry out back here in Newberry Springs, which is a kind of like a suburb near here. And that's where he makes all these amazing sculptures. Now, I just got a hot tip from a viewer that apparently he made a new sculpture. That's right, there's a brand new sculpture that was just dedicated in this sculpture park last Friday. Today's Thursday, so less than a week ago. There's a brand new sculpture here, and, well, it sounds very interesting. So I figured since I'm on my way back to Vegas anyway, and I'm not in a rush for once in my life, well, me and little Wonderhussy Jr. could stop off and have a look-see and check out this new sculpture. What do you think, Wonderhussy Jr.? Sounds good to me. All right, let's drive in and check it out. Now, you might also remember from my last video here that there's kind of like this guy, local guy, who lives like right down the road from this sculpture park, and he's kind of like the caretaker, the self-designated caretaker, and he loves to talk. If you saw my last video, well, then you remember what I mean. So, well, I don't want to spend all day out here, so I'm kind of hoping that guy's not around, but hey, we'll see. Oh, look, this is new. They didn't have all these picnic tables here before. That's kind of cool. I guess a nice shady place to stop and have your lunch right at the side of I-15. But here on the other side, you can see all the old sculptures that I covered in my last video. There's the Tiananmen Square man. There's a tank. Oh, up ahead here, there's a Crazy Horse, I think, or is that Sitting Bull? I can't remember. And then just beyond Sitting Bull, or Crazy Horse, there's the new sculpture. Okay, Junior, you're gonna have to wait in the car for this one. Let's go check this sculpture out. Okay, here it is. This is the new sculpture. You can see it's a head. Half of the head has flesh on it, and the other half is a death skull. There's all kind of weird red things coming out of the scalp. And then at the bottom it says CCP virus. And then over here on the side you can see there's the hammer and sickle, the symbol of the Communist Party, instead of an ear, which is what he has on the side of the head that still has flesh on it. I guess maybe that's like a statement about, well, once the Communist Party takes over you can't hear anything anymore. I'm not sure. I am curious what they make this out of. I mean, I called it a foundry, but I think it's only technically called a foundry if you're using it to make bronze sculptures. This feels like resin. So, hey, that's pretty cool though. This is a ginormous piece of resin. Whoa! Okay, so basically we have a head that is half dead. CCP is Chinese Communist Party virus. And then I think those little things sticking out the top of the head are supposed to look like, well, if you've ever seen a graphic representation of what the actual coronavirus, okay, looks like. It has all those weird little antennas, for lack of a better word, coming out of it. So basically I think it's a guy with the coronavirus stuff coming out of his head, and they're somehow linking it to the Chinese Communist Party. But we don't really have to wonder very much, because there is an informative, informational signboard here that might help explain it. Now, before I go into detail looking at this sign, I just want to make very clear that these are, well, the views expressed in this program are not the views of Wonderhussy. These are the views of the sculptor in this park. So I have a feeling it's going to be some pretty controversial stuff, but hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here reporting live from the scene. Okay, so it's basically a map of the world, but it says roadmap for the transmission of the Chinese communist virus, COVID-19. Okay, that's already a fairly controversial thing to say. I know a lot of people have, or took issue with it being called the Chinese virus, or linking it in any way with China. Although, I mean, to be fair, from what I read, I mean, it was first discovered in China. They thought it came out of that market, that fish market or night market or whatever, wet market. And then they thought, oh no, maybe it was leaked out of a lab. And then come to find out, I read an article where I think they first discovered it like 8 or 9 years ago in a cave, in a mine. There was like, they got it in bat guano or something out of some mine. So who knows? I mean, I'm pretty sure that everyone agrees that the virus did originate in China. You know, whether it was leaked intentionally or not, it seems to me like this sign is saying that it was. But hey, let's take a closer look at the sign. Okay, anyway, it says it's the roadmap for the transmission of COVID. Basically, according to WHO, reported as of May 15, 2021, a total of 160,813,869 people have been infected with COVID-19 worldwide, and the death toll is as high as 3,339,002. I think the reason it says death toll as high as is, well, it also says down here, COVID-19, also known as CCP, Chinese Communist Party virus, is originated in Wuhan, China, and spread across the world in 2020. The Chinese government claimed confirmed cases is only 103,937, and the death count is 4,858. As for May 15th, 2021. Based on all open source evidence, the actual death toll is believed to be astronomically higher. So I guess essentially what he's saying is that the Chinese Communist Party covered it up and tried to make it seem like it wasn't as bad as it really was. Which is interesting, because I feel like a lot of conspiracy theorists now say, oh no, it's really not as bad as they make it seem to be. So this is what I find interesting about conspiracy theories is, you know, sometimes they dovetail in some parts and sometimes they diverge in other parts, and well, no two groups of conspiracy theorists are really alike. It's interesting. So this guy seems to think that the numbers were underreported by the Chinese government. And so on every country, you'll see he has listed how many people got the disease and then how many people died of the disease. So in Russia, for instance, almost 5 million people got COVID. Only about 115,000 died of it, which is still a substantial number of people. And then, U.S., it says, oh my goodness, it says 32.5 million people got COVID in the U.S. I didn't realize it was that many. And over 500,000 people died? Is that true? Golly, I feel bad. I didn't realize it was that bad of a disease. I didn't realize 32.5 million people. Well, I mean, I do know a few people who had it, and I only know one person who died of it. But, I mean, I'm just one person. So I guess it is conceivable that almost 600,000 people died of COVID in the U.S. Wow, that's nuts. And I should point out that this guy is not like some kind of pro, you know, I don't even know how to phrase all this because I try not to get political, but this guy's not some kind of pro Biden or pro Fauci type dude. He's just, his whole agenda is anti-communist party. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I am just trying to report on this art piece. Okay, I think the U.S. has the highest number of COVID cases. Oh wait, look, India. India's blowing up right now. Let's see what it says here. I mean, these numbers are just of May, as of May 15th. 24 million? Okay, close, but no cigar, man. Brazil also supposedly had a lot, but according to this, only 15 million. which is only like half of what the US had. Wow, that blows my mind. Okay, so what does China say? Let's go to China. Survey says. Well, apparently, he's got question marks after it because you can't trust the information that Chinese Communist Party put out. They're saying there was only 104,000 cases and 5,000 deaths, but that's why he has all them question marks. And it's interesting too, it almost looks like a map of like an airline, because I guess all the CCP virus cases or COVID cases are coming out of China. Well, I guess that's where Wuhan is, but it's almost like flight paths, and there's all these other hubs, which I don't know what that means. Like, okay, it spread to Iran, and then from Iran it spread here. Is that what he means? And then it all went to Italy and blew up from there? Oh wow, look, one person in the Faroe Islands died of COVID. That's terrible. Oh look, nobody in Greenland died of COVID, and only 30 cases. Oh, you know who else did a really good job cutting down on it was Australia, New Zealand. Look at that. Australia had 910 deaths, only 29,000 cases. But look at New Zealand, only 26 deaths, just over 2,000 cases. Good on you, mate. Wow, it's really interesting looking at this now because it's June 11th. As of June 1st, no masks are required anymore in Nevada. Vegas is back to normal, wide open, all the casinos, everything, full capacity. California, I think in 4 days, on the 15th, they're going to be the same, no masks, no nothing. So it's interesting timing that he put this statue up now. Like, why didn't he make this a year ago, you know, when the pandemic was really blowing up? So in retrospect, I'm not really sure what his point is with this. I mean, obviously, as evidenced by the rest of the sculptures here, he's very anti-Chinese Communist Party, and understandably so. It looks here like, I don't know, my first thought was, oh, he's blaming the Communist Party for coming up with COVID. That's what I thought it was going to say, but reading this sign, it doesn't seem like it. It sounds to me like all he's really accusing the Communist Party of is hushing it up. So maybe, essentially, he is blaming the Communist Party for the pandemic in the sense that if they had been honest about it to begin with and hadn't tried to hush it up and cover it up, well, we all might have gotten to the bottom of it a lot quicker and gotten over it faster than we did. That's just my guess. I mean, here's a wide shot of the map. If you want, you can pause the video and look at it up close and personal as long as you want, but that's pretty much all the information we have in addition to the sculpture. And then there is a plaque on the back of this sign, but it just says a list of the donors, I guess, the people who donated money so that he could build it. Labor Reform Foundation, China Democracy Education Foundation, National Constitution Association. I guess these are pro-democracy, Chinese pro-democracy groups. Oh man, this is wild. Okay, well, oh look, here's a interesting, look at this. Okay, so there's a list of donors on the back of the map, but there's also a little sign on the back of the sculpture itself that says, sculpture completion presided over by Congressman Chris Smith. So I guess a congressman from this district came out here for the June 4th. That was a week ago. June 4th, 2020. Oh man, it must have been quite a to-do. Man, I wish I could have been out here for it. It would have been really interesting to see what was going on and hear what he was saying. I did notice one other interesting thing while I'm out here. So I don't know if this dude bought this land or what, or if it's just BLM land next to the freeway or what the case is, but it looks like, you know, every now and then when the urge hits, he puts up a new sculpture. And I guess he's just busily working away at them over there in Newberry Springs all the time. But it looks like they're getting ready to install a new one here. You know what I mean? Doesn't that look like they kind of they're digging a foundation or something to put up a new monument? So that 64, that stands for June 4th. Oh! No wonder they dedicated this statue on June 4th. That's what that big 6-4 is. June 4th, which was the day of the Tiananmen Square massacre, I think. That's why he came out here on June 4th and put up a new sculpture. Makes sense now. I don't know when they're going to put this next one in, but man, I got to somehow keep my ear to the ground and find out about it, because I want to come out here for one of these dedication ceremonies. Seems like it'd be a really interesting thing to see. Huh. Well, I guess that's pretty much all there is to this site for now. Again, you can go back and watch my other video if you want to see more all these other sculptures in more detail, and I recommend that you do. This is a really interesting sculpture park. It's right off the side of the road. It's real easy to get to. If you're driving to from LA to Vegas, it just makes a nice stop, especially if that yacker dude's not around, which he still hasn't shown up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back in my car now. because I just don't feel like having a long conversation. You feel me, Junior? Oh, Junior, I'm sorry you had to wait in the car. You did such a nice job sitting here and guarding all my stuff that, tell you what, I'm going to give you a special treat. It just so happens that the biggest gas station in all of California is just right across that field there. I'm going to drive on over there. I got to get a couple gallons of gas anyways. I don't have quite enough to get back to Vegas. And yes, of course, I would rather wait till I get to Nevada where it's cheaper, but I need to buy at least a couple gallons of gas. Might as well go there and get a sweet treat. 4:39. Yikes. Like I said, I'm only gonna get a few gallons here. Forget it, man. I went into that biggest gas station in California to get a ice cold Coca-Cola for my friend here. And they didn't even have one. Biggest gas station in California. Hey, you know what? Sometimes bigger isn't better. I'm just gonna have to cruise on to Baker the old-fashioned way and get my little Junior here a sweet treat somewhere else. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this video up now. Hope you enjoyed this informative talk about the coronavirus statue. And next time you're driving through this area, hey, stop in and check it out. Just don't try buying a Coca-Cola at Eddie World.